Okay, live stream's up and posted. I got a message from Bob and Joe Vickers. They're both going to be late. Give them a couple minutes and then start. All right, I'll go ahead and call to order the Wednesday, October 21st meeting of the Darlington Community School District Board of Education. Teresa, do you acknowledge public notice?
Yes.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
and to
to
the
the
republic
republic
which
for
is
which it stands,
one
one nation,
under
under God,
indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
All right, we have Mr. Jackson, Aaron, Lancaster, not on tonight? Okay. Lori, Bronco,
Yes.
Christ, Hermanson, Reichling,
Here.
Rickers, Schilling,
Yes.
Siegenthaler here, Wolf,
Here.
Zuberbuehler.
Here.
Item 3 is call for special appearance. Do you have anyone contact us wanting to speak?
No, sir.
All right, we'll move on then to item 4, adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Rickers, motion by Bronco, second by Schilling to adopt the agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 5 is approval of minutes from our board meeting on October 7th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Schilling, second by Bronco to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 6, via email, Bob, RJ, and Matt reviewed and audited the bills for payment. See those?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Schilling to approve,
Second.
second by Bronco. Is there any discussion on the bills for payment? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 7, discussion and action regarding donations. 7A, Gloria Boltman would like to donate $50 to the DEMS Service Learning Student Activity Account in support of Rosie Bags.
Motion to approve and thank her.
Second.
Motion by Schilling, second by Zuberbuehler to approve the donation with our thanks. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes. 7B, an anonymous donor would like to donate $150 to the DEMS Book Fair.
You got 150 or 100?
We changed it to, it's 150.
Okay.
Motion to approve and thank them.
Second.
Motion by Schilling, second by Bronco to approve the donation with our thanks. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That motion passes. 7C, The Darlington Lions Club would like to donate $655 to go towards concussion testing for student athletes.
Motion to approve. Thank them.
Is that just for the high school?
Right now, we've only tested the high school, but we've looked at expanding into the junior high as well.
Well, that was it. That was the reason I asked, Pat, was because we always did for 7 and 8 football.
Yep.
Okay.
I've talked to Ben about doing that. We just haven't worked out when we're gonna do it.
Okay, did I have a motion?
Yeah, from Zub, the second from Schilling.
Okay, motion by Zuber, second from Schilling to approve that donation with our thanks. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? That motion passes. Number 8, a public hearing regarding waivers for student minutes and educator effectiveness.
This would be an opportunity for anybody that would like to ask questions about the plan, which is to ask for a waiver from the required number of minutes and ask for a waiver from the required educator effectiveness system, which is the teacher evaluations. Reason for the minute waiver is as a response to the COVID, we recently decided to temporarily suspend instruction on Fridays for the purpose of deep cleaning and teacher preparation. And the educator effectiveness, we're asking for a waiver so that teachers can focus all their time on the combination of virtual, in-person, and hybrid approach that they're doing.
Did we waive the educator effectiveness last year? I know minutes were, but
Yes, sir.
okay. So we're okay with going 2 years?
Yeah, what we're doing is we're still having the teachers set goals for themselves and then follow up at the end of the year on how they did on meeting those goals, which is part of the system. We're also having the principals are going to observe new teachers part of the process, but we're just asking for a waiver because we're not going to be fulfilling all the requirements.
Okay.
All right, so item 8 starts the public hearing. Item 9 is discussion and action to request the waivers from Wisconsin DPI for student minutes and educator effectiveness, like Cale said, and the attachments there, which shows the actual resolution.
We need a motion, Aaron.
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Schilling, second by Bronco to approve the waiver request for educator effectiveness and student minutes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 10, seclusion and restraint report by Mr. Jackson.
I'm required to report to the board every year the number of times the previous year that we either restrained or secluded a student. Restraint would be very strict definition. Anytime you put your hands on a kid and stop them from going where they're wanting to go. And you're not to do that unless there's a danger for them harming themselves or someone else. Seclusion would be putting them in a room by themselves, which would be as a last resort. The number of incidents we had in the 1920 school year involving seclusion was 11. And the number of incidents of restraint was 11. I'm also, at this point, is where I'd be required to tell you the number of kids that were involved in that. However, the federal guidelines say if that number is below 5, not to report the actual number. It may be easy to identify the student. Let's say if I said one and somebody knew something that happened one time, they could figure out who that was. So I will not be reporting publicly the number, but I will be entering that number into the DPI database.
So by not okay, so just to clarify, it is below 5, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, any questions on that report?
Got Joe with us.
Yeah, Joe Rickers just joined. We'll move on then to item 11, discussion and action regarding the 2021 budget and tax levy.
Got all the numbers necessary to determine what our taxes are going to be for next year. Some of the factors that go into that, a big one is enrollment. Your revenue is based on the number of students that you have primarily. Our enrollment this year dropped from 864 to 861. We had been on a pretty dramatic increasing trend until this year. We still were up this year slightly. The reason that the final report says that we were down is because of the dramatic reduction we had in summer school. We basically didn't have summer school. So our number of students from this third Friday to last third Friday was higher, but when you subtract out the dramatic reduction in summer school, overall, it came out to a slight drop. The enrollment is still based on a 3-year average. So the way we get our new averages, we drop off our enrollment from 3 years ago and we add this year. 3 years ago, we're dropping off at 806 and we're adding on at 861. So our average is up 19 this year, which is very good. Revenue limit with the higher number of students enrolled, our revenue limit that we're allowed to tax is up 4.3%. However, our taxes will not be going up because our aid from the state is up 8.1%. The last factor for the tax rate, the mill rate, is your property values. Those came in. I had anticipated at the annual meeting an increase of 2.5% just as an estimate. It turned out that the property values are up overall 3.9%. So you put all that together and our mill rate, our tax rate per thousand is going to be down this year 5.5% from 11.95 to 11.30. So what we would need is a motion to approve the tax levy, which is $3,926,298.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Bronco, second by Schilling to approve the tax levy as described by Mr. Jackson. Is there any discussion? So basically, it's good news in every category, right? Our enrollment's up, state aid is up, and taxes are down.
Yep.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? That motion passes. Item 12, COVID-19 update.
The main thing I wanted to talk about here is that this new schedule that we have where there's no instruction on Fridays is not going to be a permanent thing. The plan is to continue no instructions on Fridays for deep cleaning and for teacher preparation until the numbers start to come back down. From the time we started the school year until about 2 weeks ago, a dramatic increase in our county, I think our state too, in the numbers. That's why we switched to this system and we took some time off of school too. Once those numbers come back down, the plan is to go back to the normal schedule, which would be no more hybrid in the high school and back to instruction on Fridays. Now, what exactly are those numbers? What do we have to get back to before we'll recommend that we do that? It would be based on consulting with the county health department. They put out metrics every week that show trends and how things are going. So when we decide to come back, it'll be based on the number of active cases that we've seen in the school, probably number one. Number two would be active cases around the community. And then also consulting and looking at the metrics from the county. Well, I would say most likely we'll be sticking with this schedule for at least 3 or 4 weeks. And then we're gonna review it constantly. And once we feel like it's the right thing to do, we'll go back to the normal schedule. I also had on here for COVID, update some things that talk about sports, but I think Pat's probably talked about that in his report, so we can skip that for now.
All right, anything to add or any questions on pandemic things? On then to item 13, superintendent, principals, activities director, and building and grounds reports. Kale?
All of the CARES money has been claimed, entered the budget into the system. The budget was approved. I submitted our claims. The claims were approved, and the money is coming. Approximately 140,000 is on the way. It was just about enough to cover the laptops and the ion air system. Now that that's all claimed, they opened up the grant application for the second round of the CARES money. They called it GEAR. We have another 120,000 that we can claim from that. That will be the 2 custodians that we hired temporarily, the K-4 online curriculum, the plexiglass and things like that. So that the CARES money, the 140,000 is all claimed and on the way. The other 120, the budget, the application is open and that will be coming soon. The WAC convention in January has been switched to all virtual. The school board convention in Milwaukee, this was going to be the 100th annual. They had, as usual, world-class speakers planned, even more so than normal because of the significance of the year. And unfortunately, not going to happen in person. But any school board people that would like to attend virtually will, of course, still be able to do that. And the last thing I have is that we need to schedule a building and grounds committee to talk about some projects that we have coming up and to talk about the plan of how our building plans fit into our referendum plans. And if we could, Lee is not on there, but it works better for him with football practice if we could do it on a Wednesday at 6 or after. That's it. Thank you.
Any suggestions on scheduling that building and grounds?
How soon do you need it done, Cale?
Not super time sensitive. Another thing that we're going to be talking about is the FEMA grant is coming along. So as far as the referendum goes, it's not time sensitive at all, but probably the sooner the better for talking about the tornado shelter.
So you want to do it next Wednesday?
Yeah, that would work for me.
Not sure who else is on the committee, but that works for me as well.
There aren't any homecoming activities going on.
Not on Wednesday night, yeah.
That's building and grounds, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on that. Let me just,
I think Red's the other one, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
So 28th at 6 o'clock.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gail. Lloyd?
I feel like the transition back from virtual learning to in the building has gone well. It's nice to see the kids back, and I feel like we just had a smooth transition back into things. We started map testing this week. It's been going well so far. The kids, rather than going to the labs this year, everyone's testing in their classrooms with the Chromebooks and the technological devices that they have. So help desk worked hard to make sure they all had what they needed to be able to take that. We had our flu clinic today in the building, and I think that went well because I didn't hear a whole lot about it. So I think that went well. That's about all right now.
Okay.
Everybody's just working to get through the days.
Thanks, Lori. Beth?
Our girls golf finished up. We had one girl that made it through to sectionals, Josie Thomas. Our cross country ran in the conference meet last week. They ran in the sub-sectional, and they got 2 girls and the boys team through to sectionals, which is going to be hosted here on Friday. Our girls volleyball starts their tournament play tomorrow home against Lancaster. If they win, when they win, they will play against winner of River Ridge, Mineral Point Saturday night. Football team, we picked up another game to fill that week 6 that we previously had open. We're going to play Potosi Cassville. They've agreed to play us over there for varsity and then here for JV on Monday. We did have our winter sports meetings this morning. We did them virtually. That way we get every kid involved. So preliminary numbers, boys basketball has 35 signed up. Girls basketball has 24 signed up with a couple that were not there. And then wrestling, we had 12 sign up from Darlington. So overall, pretty good numbers. Kids are interested, looking forward to the winter season. And that's pretty much all we got right now.
Do you know how many there will be from Pecatonica or
Black
sorry,
Hawk.
Black Hawk
I talked to
wrestling?
Willie Chambers today. He's thinking 1, maybe 2. They don't have quite as much interest right now. But they definitely will have 1. The WIA made it a little bit more difficult. They came out with rules basically saying you can only have dual meets and you can only wrestle once every 6 to 7 days, which doesn't seem like a big deal except for the fact that most of the schools around us don't have full teams. They don't have somebody to wrestle at every weight class. So you could have a kid that he could go 2-3 weeks without being able to have a match. And I know there's been some pleas to the WA about giving us a little bit of leeway, but right now they're not inclined to make that change. So I know some kids have kind of shied away, especially at the lower weights, because those are usually the ones where you don't have a match every time. So,
Pat, has there been discussion about changing how they look at stuff and going for more multi-duels? Because now they count that as part of the tournament. They limit so many dual meets, so many, et cetera. So because of the COVID and everything, have they thought about that at all?
yeah, basically what they've said is they've eliminated all tournaments. It's been suggested to them, what if you host like you said, a multi-duel, a double duel, triple duel kind of thing. And the statement they put out to us was no. They're kind of looking at it, and I get it, it's a statewide thing where if you're a bigger school, this isn't an issue because
Right.
you're gonna have enough kids to wrestle every weight class. You get down into our division and this becomes a big problem. I know a couple of different pleas have been made, talking with Willie Chambers today. He said that the WI and Board of Control is aware of it and they're trying to work with it to maybe make that improvement, but the medical board, this was the concession they had to make to get them to allow wrestling at all. So
All right.
it's being talked about, but I don't know how much headway we're gonna get with that.
All right, that's all I got. Thanks, Pat. That brings us to item 14, which is appropriate for executive session. And includes a teacher assistant candidate and high school principal, both appropriate for executive session under Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Motion by Rickers, second by Zubile to go into closed session. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. All right, I'm going to shut off the live stream. If you're watching on YouTube, we will post the